boardroom smelled of expensive leather and polished wood. A dozen men in dark suits sat around the massive oak table, their eyes fixed on the young black woman at the head. Her name was Maya Johnson, CEO, visionary, and the very reason they were all gathered today. She had built her financial technology company from the ground up, disrupting the industry with bold ideas. Today's meeting was supposed to be a merger discussion, a handshake that would change the face of banking in the city. But from the moment she walked in, she could feel the tension. Whispers, sideways glances, even smirks. It was subtle, but she knew the language well. She had grown up being underestimated, and though she wore a tailored suit and confidence like armor, prejudice had a way of sneaking through cracks in polished glass. Across from her sat Richard Whitman, a senior banker with decades in the industry. Gray hair slicked back, cufflinks gleaming, a man who thought of himself as untouchable. He leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers with the arrogance of someone who believed the room belonged to him. "Maya," he said, his voice dripping with condescension, "before we get too far ahead, let's clarify something. Our board has certain standards. This bank isn't just numbers and apps. It's legacy, it's tradition, and frankly, it's culture. You've built an impressive little company, but do you really think you belong at this table?" The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. Some of the other men shifted uncomfortably, while others smirked, clearly amused by Richard's jab. Maya kept her face calm, but her hands tightened slightly on the armrest of her chair. She had faced this before: racism, disguised as professionalism, sexism cloaked in tradition. "Yes," she said firmly, "I belong at this table. That's why I was invited." Richard chuckled, shaking his head. "You're ambitious, I'll give you that. But banking at this level isn't about ambition alone. It's about pedigree. It's about the right families, the right connections. Frankly, it's about people who've lived and breathed this world for generations. It's not about outsiders trying to break in." The word outsiders hung in the air like poison. Everyone knew what he meant. For a moment, Maya let the silence build again. Then she leaned forward, her eyes locked on his. "Richard," she said softly, "you've made your point clear, right? But let me make mine. This bank, the very one you're sitting in, already belongs to me." The room erupted in confusion. Chairs squeaked, papers shuffled, and several executives exchanged startled looks. Richard frowned, clearly thrown off. "Excuse me? What are you talking about?" Maya reached into her briefcase and pulled out a folder, sliding it across the table. Beside were the finalized documents from the last quarter. With a calm smile, she explained, "While you were busy underestimating me, my team was buying, quietly, strategically, your shares, the secondary markets, the leveraged positions you didn't think anyone was watching. Hey, as of last week, my company is now the majority shareholder of this bank." The room went dead silent. Every face around the table turned to her, eyes wide, jaws slack. Richard snatched the papers and scanned them frantically. His face paled as the truth sank in. This can't be possible," he stammered. "Oh, it's very possible," Maya said. Her voice grew stronger, steadier, carrying the weight of years of struggle, resilience, and victory. "You see, while you were clinging to tradition and legacy, I was building the future. I was creating access for people your system has ignored for centuries. And while you looked down on me as an outsider, I was already inside, changing the rules you thought could never be changed." One of the younger board members leaned forward, eyes shining with admiration. "She's telling the truth. The numbers check out. Her company is now the controlling stakeholder." Murmurs spread around the room like wildfire. Some executives looked furious, others relieved, and a few even smiled, perhaps recognizing the inevitable shift in power. Richard's face turned red, his voice rising with desperation. "You think you can just walk in here, wave a few papers, and take over generations of work? You don't understand how this world works." Maya stood, her presence commanding the entire room. "No, Richard," she said. It's you who doesn't understand. This world has changed. It's not about gatekeepers deciding who gets in anymore. It's about innovation, about fairness, about breaking barriers so that the next little black girl who dreams of owning a bank won't be laughed at. It's about rewriting the narrative you've guarded so fiercely. Her words hit like thunder. The room was still, every ear tuned to her. She took a deep breath, letting the moment settle, then added, "You tried to humiliate me because of the color of my skin, and the fact that I didn't come from your world of privilege. But today, I stand here not as your competitor, not as your outsider, but as your boss." The weight of those words stunned the room. Richard's mouth opened, then closed, his pride crushed under the reality before him. He looked around for support, but no one came to his rescue. The men who once chuckled at her now sat silent, realizing the balance of power had shifted permanently. Maya turned toward the board, her voice calm once more. "From this moment forward, this bank will not be a symbol of exclusion. It will be a place of opportunity. We will serve the people who've been ignored. We'll invest in communities that were overlooked. And we will prove that success doesn't have a color, but it does have a heart." The room erupted in applause, hesitant at first, then stronger as board members realized they were witnessing history. A few even rose to their feet, clapping with genuine respect. Richard, defeated, sank back into his chair, his eyes glazed with disbelief. For the first time in his career, he had been forced to confront a reality he could not control. Maya gathered her papers, her posture graceful, her eyes unyielding. She had not only claimed her seat at the table, she had claimed the entire table itself. As she walked toward the door, she paused and looked back at Richard one last time. "Legacy isn't what you inherit," she said, her voice echoing through the grand boardroom. "It's what you build. And Richard, this bank's new legacy begins today." With that, she left the room in stunned silence, the sound of her heels on marble like a drumbeat of change. The very walls of the bank seemed to hum with a new energy, one that no amount of prejudice could silence. The whispers of doubt that once filled her life were now replaced by a roar of victory. Maya Johnson, the young black CEO who had been told she didn't belong, had just rewritten history. And for the first time, everyone in that room knew exactly who the future belonged to.